It's tier list time. Let's get on with this because we got a new weapon and we got a new tier list to add. Now, I want to say a couple different things that are going to happen in this tier list. Number one, I've taken all the hunter weapons out. Now, the reason I've done this is because, quite honestly, if you have the hunter, you want to get the weapon. There's just no ifs or buts about it. It's a necessity. You don't ever want to use someone else's weapon on someone else at the end of the day. So I've kind of found it kind of useless putting them into categories because if you like a hunter, their weapon is going to be the best choice for them. So keep that in place. Number two, I want to remind everybody, there is a Twitch channel now that I dual stream on. If you are a Twitch fan and do follow Twitch, give me a follow. Give your boy a follow. I dual stream now with YouTube and Twitch at the same time. And don't forget the content creator program is still going on. Get yourself some free codes, guys, by clicking that support button. We have 3 active codes with 1 more on the way. Now, with that being said, let's go into this tier list. I'm going to be a lot more strict about this one. I have been getting a lot more strict with my tier list, and I want to make sure that we have the proper outcomes here for you guys so you understand where everything belongs. Now, most of this limelight is going to shine on the newest weapon, so we'll talk more about that as well too, and we'll talk about everything else in between. There has been some changes, of course, with the way things have been going. So let's start off with the D list. Quite honestly, guys, I'm going to throw most of these in here because let's be real. When it comes down to hunters' weapons, you're really not going to use too many of these. Quite ever, to be honest. So let's just go through the list here and just simplify this a bit. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule, of course. So, for example, this SR Elemental Sword is great for bots. So you will use this once in a while. I'll put it in B. And same with this Power Gauge one. This is good for challenges. I'll put this in B just for now. Because, again, there are uses for the hunters to have either one of these as backups. These are probably the only 2 I would actually ever use from the list that you see there, period. Now, for when it comes down to like actual SJW SR weapons, this Dark Gun, quite honestly, is pretty useless so far. There are going to be times where we may find ways to use these things, but at the moment as it stands, these are fairly inopportune, not very good weapons to ever use, right? So I'm going to put these over here. Now in the C League over here for SJW, I'm going to put the Falcon deserves a little bit more love because there's a Truth Venom Fang. I'm going to put this one down here. We're going to put the actual Light Sword in here as well too, and then the Water Pole Arm, which quite honestly doesn't serve any purposes anymore. Now in the B section, because of the amount of time we have the amount of time we've used this in the past to help us, it does actually, you know what, I'll put this back in C. I was going to say, because there is an actual SSR version of it now, which is the Guild Staff, or Guild Spear, I should say, and I'll add it in here as well. I think it's missing in here. I'll add it in here as well too, just so we can give it a ranking. And then right over here, in terms of beat ranks, I'm going to go ahead and put these up here. So Vulcan, Redeemer Bow, and the Falcon, I'd say over here. And then, of course, Baruku Daggers are probably going to fall in here too. The Grimoire will fall in here as well, and then Westwind, of course, will take its first spot right over here in the B section. Okay, so this is going to be essentially your SR weapon lineup. Now, this one here deserves a little bit more love, the Night Killer, only because recently it was found, shout out to Materia and everyone else who found this out, that it could be very good on the Fakna fights, and everyone who is using this, even whales, are now putting this as their primary weapon. So we're going to put this in A, but that's really the only place it shines when it comes down to defense pen. I mean, there are other defense pen fights, but you don't really need them for that because at the end of the day, there's other weapons to use, but for Fakna specifically, this will give you the highest possible score with the Night Killer. So it deserves a little bit of love, but I'm not going to put it any higher, only because, again, it's fulfilling one specific role. All right, let me go quickly in there, put in the actual Guild Spear so we have that in the list. I'll be right back. All right, guys, sorry about that. So let's go back to the A's. Let's talk a little bit about everything that's happening. So first off, Scatty. Yeah, I'm gonna do this on purpose just because I really want them to buff this damn weapon, but I think it's absolutely awful. So I'm going to put it at the top of the C level. It's still so garbage. It really, really is. And I really hope they make it better because this has defense pan, attack up, has really high percentages, but it just absolutely is one of the worst weapons in the game. And I'm hoping they give it some love and give it a little bit of a buff that it, I think, rightfully deserves. All right, so that's going to be there. Zeke's as well too. I'm going to put it in the A section. It's decent at best. It will be very similar to what the Scythe will look like, probably a little bit better. We've done a lot of testing between these two. These two will still be right there. Honestly, if they're like the only dark weapons you have, I feel sorry for you, but they aren't the worst weapons in the game, right? So I'm going to put them there. Guild Spear, I'm going to actually put this right around this section, actually right over here. It is accessible. I've used this as my primary light weapon on my free-to-play account, and I finished every single content with it, so I know it's actually pretty good, and it is accessible to get the A10 for free-to-play players just over time with your guild, but it's not the greatest weapon. There is much better light weapons out there. Again, I have a couple of these Hunter weapons, I'm not going to, again, rate those because, we agreed that all hunter weapons should be used by hunters, period. We won't touch those, all right? Now, a couple more things here. Golden Tail Fox, I'm going to also put in A. Great light buffer, but there's now a new king for buffing in town, so it automatically loses its credibility a little bit there. We also have the forest bow. Oh yeah, this weapon is not very good. I will put it right over here. I'll say right in front of Westwind. It is still decent in damage. It still does good AoE damage and gives a decent buff for an event weapon. It's not bad, but the Golden Tail Fox is definitely a bit better. So we're going to put that over there just to give it a little bit more love than the Forest Bow. So the Golden Tail Fox is still a better option between the two of these. Okay, just so everyone is aware. Now, Huntsman. Honestly, I'm going to put this right here in B. It is still a decent weapon. As a matter of fact, you know what? I would say Zeke's will go in B, Scythe will go in B, and let's do it like that. I think this is a little bit better. And the only reason why I'm doing this, guys, is because there's just not that many good light options outside of one. There's a lot of good dark options, right? So I think, again, we got to be a little more strict, right? So this is, I think, right, actually, you know what? This deserves probably a little bit more love. I'm noticing Huntsman being used way more often. These are never used anymore, like literally never used anymore. So you got to make it a little bit more realistic with that. Now, for the bow, I'll put it right in the front here because it does rely heavily on another weapon, okay? And then DKL I'll put right over here as well too. We'll put it right in front. We'll go like that. I think that's a pretty fair assumption on things. And I'll put the Kasaka Venom Fangs here as well as a free-to-play weapon. I'll put it in front of here because it is actually really, really useful, very accessible. You can't get it to A10, unfortunately, but it pairs really well with the newest weapon that just came out, especially for solo content, all right? So we'll go right there. Now, when it comes down to S tier, all right, we're going to go S tier now. We're going to go with, oh, I forgot about Vulcans. Vulcan just deserves right here. It's better than Scatty, in my opinion. There you guys go, CNC. All right, now let's go over here. So these are the remaining weapons. So there is a new king in town, okay? So we're going to talk about that. So Grimoire can go back over here in S. I still think it's a fairly decent weapon for water, just because water doesn't have a lot of options. But S right there. We're going to go with the fan as well in S. I think it's the best buffing weapon for sure for POD, best breaking weapon for POD. This might arguably be SS at this point for a lot of different content, but it's only used limited times with fire teams and fire content, so we'll keep that there. Plum Sword. Now, the only reason why the Plum Sword has dropped, guys, the only reason why is because there just isn't content usable right now as much as we normally would. This was the king of weapons, but because we've now kind of diminished the amount of content there is for it, or Netmarble has diminished the amount of content there is for it, we're finding different things that are coming out that is better than it, and that's the evolution of gotchas, right? Weapons eventually get replaced, and this is a very normal thing. Plum Sword was one of the OG weapons that were in the game during early access. It's been a year that it sat on top, but now it's kind of fallen off a little bit. DKD, I'd say, is still right over here as well too as the top DPS wind weapon, top DPS wind weapon. All right, and then Moonshadow Daggers, I think, also still deserve a lot of love, so I'm going to leave them where they are. Now, let's talk about the top weapons. We're going to put the new Winter Fang up here as one of the top weapons for sure. Whether it's water or not is irrelevant. It's still an incredibly powerful weapon and deserves a lot of love. And then we have the Moonshadow Daggers over here, still one of the best support weapons in the game. I could arguably put it here as well too, but Moonshadow Daggers have a little bit more of an importance in the Plum because it actually buffs the damage of your hunters as well. So the team actually gets a bonus damage on this, so it deserves a little bit more love because of that. We have the Staff, which is the best, most powerful weapon in the game when it comes down to just pure raw damage, and then of course the best weapon in the game right now for anything because it just buffs all of your stats, or well, I guess all of your skills and moves by 3,200% at A5, and that is the Stormbringer. So there you guys go. That is my tier list. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about it. I'm curious to have your thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys would change, what you guys would adjust. But this is what I think is currently the best meta in the game for the top weapons. This combines pretty much with this and this as the three best by far. This can also arguably be up here as well. You know what? We'll put that up there. Let's put that up there. I think this is fair. I think DKD deserves to be up there. I'm going to put that up there. So let's change our minds, guys. We'll put DKD up there. We'll put it right up here, okay? So there you guys have it. That's my tier list. Let me know what you guys think. Remember, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.